Let's say Hebrews 6:18 says, so that by two unchangeable things in which it is impossible for God to lie. Look, I'm reading New Living. Look, see Hebrews 6:18. New Living says, so God has given both, look at this. Let's say this together. God has given both his, look, promise and what else? His oath. These two things. God has given us his promise and God has given us his oath. These two things. Because God has given us these two things. Look what it says. These two things are what? Unchangeable. Because it is impossible for God to lie. Oh, it's simply impossible for God to lie. If God ever promised you anything, it's going to happen. The key is this word that we got to learn called eventually. Come on, if God said it's going to happen, it's going to eventually happen. But what most people do, most people die in the process. You got the promise, you got the problem, and you got provision. In the middle, I call it the process. God gives us a promise, and then we got the provision. We want the promise, and then walk in the provision. But no, my friend, there's an in-between time. There's a process. There's going to be a problem. But a lot of people stop halfway and never materialize. They never see the manifestation because of the process. But if God had promised you anything, it's going to happen. I don't care if it take you 25 years, it's going to happen. I don't care if you got to move, it's going to happen. I don't care what you got to lose, it's going to happen. I don't care if you get fired, it's going to happen. I don't care if you got to file 13, it's going to happen. Make no difference what it is. God said it's going to happen because he promised it to you. Let me keep going. Read these other verses and go home. James 1 says, in God there's no shadow of turning. All this just supports who God is. Let me go to the next one. All y'all know this. I know y'all do. God is omnipotent. God is omnipotent. We got to understand, what is Pastor talking about? They that know their God shall stand firm. So if you know who God is, we can't get to the bottom of the barrel studying God. You'll never be able to fully figure him out. One of the brothers said in noonday, we'll be studying him all our life, and even throughout all eternity, we'll never still figure out who God is. But here, having a knowledge of who he is in the earth will help me in the meantime, in between time. Y'all sit up and listen to me. Look, God is omnipotent. What else is he? All powerful. With him, what? Nothing is impossible. We say that, but do we believe that? We say that, but do we live this? Then why, if we believe that God is all powerful, why do we be stressing out so much? Why don't we be like that Shunammite woman that say, it shall be well. Come on, you got a dead baby. You don't know what's going to happen, but it shall be well. Why don't we get to the point where we understand that just because it's beyond my reach, it's never beyond his reach?